Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? Marcus Levy, the Angry Ranter here for vlog number 26 in the Tarv vlog series. So for the last 2 episodes, we've been taking the conversation on more of a tech angle. First, my opinion about something. Second, sort of my plan for cell phones for the future. And now we're going to have just a third episode just talking about something tech related, but it's something not specifically related to cell phones and stuff. I want to talk about music streaming services. I want to talk a little bit about Spotify, Apple Music, Soundcloud, and Deezer, or maybe one of these other ones. I'm not sure. First off, I want to say, comment below, which one do you use the most? That's the first thing I want to know. Which of these particular music streaming services do you find yourself either, if let's just say you don't have an account on any that you pay for, any premium services, actually instead of Deezer we'll say YouTube Music, just to sort of add that in. But which of any music streaming service do you use the most, if you have multiple? But if you pay for one, which one do you pay for and why do you pay for it? It's kind of a loaded question, like a double baked potato, twice baked potato. But let's start talking. So first off, I have over the years changed streaming services. The first one that I started with when I was in high school, because see, the thing is, I am of the age where I could have lived in the LimeWire generation if I had access to a computer when I was at that age, but I never did. I didn't get on the internet until about 09-10, basically. So I'm a little bit late to the party. So all of that kind of early 2000s internet-y stuff, I was old enough. Well, for frick's sakes, in 2009, I was 13. So I was definitely old enough to be a part of the, sure. I had gone on the computer, and yes, I experienced the dial-up generation, but for some reason, none of my friends ever talked about any of this stuff, like LimeWire or anything except for a few Flash games and stuff like that, which is basically all I was doing on the computer anyway, at that age, in sort of the pre-social media age. But also, I only have a few memories of it, not a whole lot. So basically, I started on the internet at around the beginning of what I want to call the age of Wi-Fi, around 09-10. Bearing in mind, for all you young kids out there, I'm saying those who are 15 or younger, there was an age where, and this I remember very clearly because I had this, there was an age where if you wanted your computer to have Wi-Fi, you had to plug an adapter piece into the desktop computer, into your laptop or whatever. Otherwise, you're plugging that sucker in with an Ethernet cord right into the friggin' modem or right into the wall. So I remember that. I definitely do, because one of my first my second desktop computer, my first desktop computer did not have internet access on it, but the second one that I had did, and we had Wi-Fi at the time, or what I'd like to call kind of a weak, primitive form of Wi-Fi, because like lo-fi or something, because it was 2010. Well, it was late 2009, early 2010. And this particular desktop that I had, which was running, I think it was Windows XP, did not have Wi-Fi built in as standard, because I think the tower itself was built in 05, and so I was using roughly a 5 or 6 year old desktop computer. It could run all my games easy peasy, even some of the newest ones. And yes, back in that day, I was still receiving computer game discs and having to put the disc in and install it on the computer, as opposed to the Steam thing, which I only became a part of roughly about 3 years later, when I got my first laptop. But, so in this sort of pre-age of Wi-Fi kind of thing, I basically had to have any computer that I was on plugged directly into the internet. There were a few laptops that were updated to Windows 7, at school or whatever that would have Wi-Fi, because the school had a Wi-Fi specifically for the computers. And I remember when that became a thing, that was huge. And when I was a kid, up until I think it was the 10th grade, YouTube was blocked because our school thought that there was no way that this could be considered a learning experience. And up until the year after I graduated, Facebook was also blocked at school because they were like, well, kids are going to be using that to like get on social media all the time when they're in class. But then they figured, well, it's a way that teachers and the school can monitor how bullying is happening. But I'm deviating from the music streaming conversation. So I've kind of set the picture now, like very much. So what I used back in the day was Groove Shark. Groove Shark was the first one that I was a part of. And holy moly, I thought this was genius. A place where you could get on and it has all of your songs in one place where you can... Essentially, it's primitive Spotify, even though Groove Shark, I think it was only 1 year older than Spotify. It's just Groove Shark had more acclaim amongst the people that I was close to. And I hadn't even heard of Spotify until I was in college. But basically, I ran Groove Shark from 2010 until September of 2015, roughly 5.5 years, until Groove Shark went defunct for copyright issues. Oh, and one of the guys who ran it got murdered. That was there was a huge thing about that. One of the guys in Florida got stabbed and he died. And it turns out he was one of the Groove Shark execs. And I was like, no! And then it went under for copyright. And I was like, no! There goes all my playlists. No! And then I found this thing, Spotify. Which I've been actively using now for... since September of 15 until present day, but I will be changing, because one of the problems that I've been having with Spotify lately is I'll be like really jamming out listening to a song, and I do like a top 5 songs of the year list, and it's like, oh yeah, this song's totally going to be on it, and then they remove it because somebody charges their copyright. So again, as I said, I kind of view Spotify as, you know, the Gen 2 Groove Shark, even though there was a large period of time where they were both running at the same time. But in essence, they're both being kind of taken down for the same thing. And unfortunately, I don't want to be a part of Spotify when it gets destroyed by copyright issues. So I'm going to be changing to Apple Music starting in January of 2020. They have all my songs. I'll be able to transfer over all my playlists because I absolutely want to do that. And then I'll be keeping a Spotify freemium account just so I can still monitor the Angry Ranter show going up on Spotify. But also, we'll see, because here's the thing. I'm going to speak in Canadian prices for a minute. So... Groove Shark never had a premium. There was never a premium fee for Groove Shark. So they never really had, accounts that had more settings on them. Some kid's ball just floated into the road. Trying to decide if I should, like, hero time it and go get it, or just leave it. But, not even sure. It's just kind of sitting there. Well, it's hero time. Oh, shit. Ballers. Oh, I'm gonna get that. There's like nobody here. Where the hell did this thing even come from? Oh well. I'm gonna just toss it up there. I don't know why I'm carrying this random ball. But back to my conversation. Speaking in kind of Canadian prices for a minute. So Spotify and Apple Music are both priced at pretty well exactly the same. So I'm just gonna pop up this hill here. They're priced at $9.99 a month. Ballers. So I'm gonna leave it there. If the wind blows it, the wind blows it. I have done my heroism. Oop. All right, yeah, sorry. So Spotify and Apple Music both come in at about $9.99 a month. So realistically, making the switch, not gonna break the bank, not gonna change the price. If it was like a couple dollars more expensive, I might have turned it down, but I won't be. Apple also has a much larger licensing of songs than Spotify does. Apple will also pay, as far as I'm aware, the artists for using their songs, whereas Spotify basically doesn't. It's basically a free to access thing where Spotify basically just makes all their money off of people paying the monthly fees. So, well, and another thing that I have too is I actually have YouTube Music because I pay for YouTube Premium. So, and it gives you YouTube Music for free. You know why? Because it sucks. I'm sorry. YouTube Music is just a glorified is just a, like, basically a shrunken down, more music focused YouTube service. But it's still YouTube. It's still basically popping onto YouTube. And it's not like it's heavily focused on, say, the Vivos or the specific channels for the given artists. No. I can basically get any video that, according to YouTube, qualifies as a song, even if it's not a song, and just have its kind of lyrics. And actually, I can even watch certain music videos on there also. Essentially, it's a $4.99 Canadian a month glorified, like, music video watching service. Now, that's $4.99 a month only if you pay for just YouTube Music. But I pay the $11.99 a month for YouTube Premium because #adless life, ballers. We all know how it is. For you guys who, watch these videos, you guys probably get ads on these videos because I've got my AdSense linked in and stuff like that. But until I get 1,000 sub and a lot of views, I think it's 4,000 watch hours in a year, we're not allowed to join the YouTube Partner Program. Now, the OG Angry Ranter Show, which is where I kind of find this funny. I went and checked my YouTube analytics. Turns out I have the same analytics account that I've had this whole time. And I remember the OG Angry Ranter Show did actually make a small amount of money. It never pays out until I hit about $100 Canadian. But I've got like $1.30 something just chilling in an account. Basically waiting for another $98 to be paid in before I get paid out. I just think thought that was a little interesting tidbit to add. So I'm going to ask again, what music service do you guys use? Which ones do you pay for? And do you have any extra ones that are maybe free? Like for me, for example, I pay for the Soundcloud Producer Premium. It's $20 a month for the sake of my podcast. But SoundCloud itself, I don't use almost ever. I use it to post my podcast because it's a good podcast hosting service. But I'm not all about that life. I'm not all about that life, listening to a lot of SoundCloud stuff. I might try to get into it to sort of spread my wings a little bit, but we'll see. Do check us out on Instagram at TheAngryRanter2019, on Twitter at Levy_Marcus. And don't forget, new episode of the show coming at you tomorrow. I'm going to try to do it in the morning and get it all posted because I got a staff meeting to go to at 4 p.m. So if I can prepare the show tonight, get up early enough tomorrow, then it'll be a good day. And we'll get the show up. All right, guys. This vlog's over 15 minutes. Not quite at that stage yet, so it's kind of just that act of heroism back there. So, all right, guys. Peace out until tomorrow.